If you can give a quick snapshot of what is a CMT certification or CMT Association for the audience.
So it began with a group of research analysts on Wall Street getting together, and that was what initially formed what is called the New York Society of Securities Analysts.
Can you give us a bifurcation, what actually happens in fundamental and what actually happens in technical?
Fundamental analysis focuses on the asset in question.
Whether I am the right fit. So what is your take on that? Who should actually do CMT?
They established to the world that if you bear these letters after your name, you have at least that bare minimum, a high standard of excellence in that discipline.
When you're saying spread awareness, so practically you might not go and give the exam of CMT, but you would know how to do technical analysis.
Yes. To learn what is robust technical analysis and what is the point of it. Is it just to identify entry, exit, stop loss, or is it to understand your entire investment portfolio, and most importantly, how do you protect yourself against risk?
What are the additional skill set you should know to survive and excel in finance?
AI is ready to replace us yet. I mean, it is definitely ready to replace the person who refuses to understand and use AI. That's for sure.
If you do CMT or technical related course, the two primary job roles would be either you can become a trader, a technical trader,
Right.
or you will be in research.
Right.
What other roles would ideally open up if you do say CMT?
Gotcha.
Hello guys, I hope everybody is doing good. Hi, this is Ganesh Nayak. I help finance professionals and students to excel in their career and become a better version of themselves. And I also help students who are preparing for competitive exams in finance like CFA, FRM, SCR and CIA. Now today I'm with one of the celebrity in the finance industry, okay, and we are going to be talking about the podcast about his journey and also the critical role that he's doing right now, okay, with vast amount of experience in the industry. Okay, he's the MD for CMT Association in India, Mr. Joel Pannikot, and we're going to be talking about his entire journey plus what is CMT, what they're doing in India, what is the course all about, and how somebody can make a career into that. And this conversation is going to be a mix of Hindi and English. So, Joel sir, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, Ganesh. Such a pleasure to be here.
And first, brief introduction about you, in the sense, what has been your corporate journey?
I was saying before we started that if you don't know where you want to go, any way is a good way. Right? So I talk about my journey in my career from market crisis to market crisis.
Okay.
In 2001, when I graduated, the .com bubble had just burst.
Right.
और उस समय पे कोई campus placements नहीं थे. So I took the first job I could find, which was in teaching, helping students prepare for MBA entrance exams like CAT and GMAT and all that.
Okay.
And I realized that I was deeply passionate about teaching and learning.
Okay.
So that happened for a while. And then I came back to Mumbai, and that was not a very high paying job. So obviously ambition overtook my passion. And I started taking just general exams and tests. And I happened to come across back then the NCFM's derivatives exam.
Okay.
Mid 2004, I took the exam. I got the certificate. Because of that, the word derivatives appeared in my CV. And because my CV was floating around there, somebody said that, hey, here's this company looking for derivatives traders. And I was like, okay, very nice, let's go. And funnily enough, in that exam, when I went for the interview as such, there were no questions about the markets. They only asked us to solve puzzles.
Okay.
And I solved a bunch of puzzles, and that seemed fine. And I got hired as the first group of traders trading bond futures and money market futures for this company called Transmarket Group.
Okay.
So that happened from 2004 till the next crisis, which is...
This was in Mumbai.
In Mumbai. Okay. This was a Chicago-based company, but they had set up an office brand new in Mumbai at that time. And like I said, that job went on from 2004 till the next crisis, which is the subprime crisis, the global financial crisis. And at that time, the company decided that the traders they had trained for the markets they had gotten used to were not the right fit for where the world was going and where the markets were going. So they decided to clear out that entire batch, and I found myself without a job. Uske baad mein, I realized that I had learned a lot of lessons during my time as a trader. I learned a lot about the markets, fortunately, but I learned a lot more about myself, about who I am as a person, where do I get extra greedy and where do I get extra fearful. And so a lot of what I realized trading was not just about understanding market concepts, but understanding my own behavior and my psychology as well. So I started a corporate training company at that time between 2008 and 10, which focused on helping people understand their mindsets and how those mindsets translate when it comes to facing the markets or facing high stress jobs like sales and business development and all that. And that was another fascinating one. So I did that for a couple of years. And then I joined Bloomberg. Bloomberg is the world's largest data, news, analytics, research, etc. company. Right. And I worked with Bloomberg for about 7.5 years. Now, in those years, my passion for education still remained, hence the corporate training. But also with Bloomberg, I noticed that there weren't enough Bloomberg terminals back then in India in business schools and universities. So I started looking at that space and seeing if I could, help more universities bring on board Bloomberg terminals, and how can I address the university's needs with a high value tool like a Bloomberg terminal.
Okay.
And so that happened. When I started, there were only 2 terminals in India, and when I was done, there was 300. And so that was quite the journey. We were able to build a strategy to engage with the sector as a whole, and then from there on, that strategy went global as well, which was quite rewarding. After I quit Bloomberg, I was CEO of an edtech startup for a while.
Okay.
For about a year. It was social enterprise, and I was helping them to recast their business strategy. And then CMT Association happened. So since then, it's been a wonderful journey. I complete 7 years this December, and CMT. With CMT Association, that's right. And now I help CMT Association to shape our global strategy, both in terms of the experience that we provide to our candidates and members, as well as how we build technology into what we do. And with AI being what it is, it's a very exciting time to be alive.
Wonderful. So now, if you can give a quick snapshot of what is a CMT certification or CMT Association for the audience.
That's a nice one, actually, because a lot of people don't know enough about CMT Association to even realize that the organization is 50 plus years old.
Right.
So it began with a group of research analysts on Wall Street getting together, and that was what initially formed what is called the New York Society of Securities Analysts. Okay. And from there, as the analysts got together, the fundamental analysts formed their own group, and they had similar ideas and models and concepts to share with each other. The technical analysts also realized that they should have a group of their own, where they talk about the cutting edge of their practice. And so the people we know today as legends, who were just young boys back then, got together and formed what was then called the Market Technicians Association. This is 1973 was when the organization was incorporated. And from there on, it has grown. It first grew as just a group of members, professionals working at the highest level of the discipline who wanted to share their processes, ideas, and grow together.
Right.
That grew, and over time, over the next decade or so, it was realized that it is not enough to just get together and discuss process. There should be a way of establishing excellence as well. And that is where the CMT program was born. So the idea started in the 80s, and by 1989, the CMT program as we know it today was born. Now today the CMT program has 3 levels of exams. Right. Level 1 is more introductory, more definitional in nature. Level 2 is more application, where the concepts that you learned in level 1 get applied in the markets, and you learn how to apply them with real market data in level 2. Okay. And level 3 is what we call the integration level, where you take these different concepts and turn them into decision-making systems. Okay. And how you can actually not just build a trading strategy, but build your own quantitative systems through which you can understand the markets better. So that's a quick snapshot. Why I feel lucky with CMT Association is that the biggest legends of the world of technical analysis have all at some point or the other been engaged with CMT Association, whether it is the great Ralph Acampora, who wrote a lot of the seminal works on relative strength, Julius de Campagner, who invented the relative rotation graph, or John Bollinger, who invented Bollinger Bands, or the great Robert Prechter, who is probably the top voice in the world for the Elliott wave principle. All of these have been actively involved with CMT Association over the past 50 years. So it's a wonderful group to be part of, and I'm lucky that I get to serve the organization and its mission.
Wonderful. Now, for an normal audience or a working professional in finance, what they understand is fundamental analysis, then there is a technical. Technical is connected to you.
Right.
Can you give us a bifurcation, what actually happens in fundamental and what actually happens in technical?
That's a very good question, because often there isn't enough clarity about what these two disciplines are and why each of them is incredibly relevant. So before I jump into the description of what they are, actually, let's start before that. Fundamental analysis focuses on the asset in question. So you might be wanting to invest in, let's say, a stock or a bond or some currency or commodities, or nowadays you even talk about cryptocurrencies as an asset class. You want to understand what should the price of that asset be, which is what you might call intrinsic value. On the other hand, you have the price that is right now. Because intrinsic value on one hand tells you the price of this stock should, let's say, be 1,000 rupees.
Right.
But as a matter of fact, today it's probably not 1,000 rupees.
Correct.
Only then is there a reason to invest in that, right? It's either too high and you want to sell, or too low and you want to buy.
Correct. Correct.
But between intrinsic value and market price come supply and demand, come market sentiment, the group behavior of all these human beings who are transacting in the markets. And so technical analysis pays attention to that side. In fact, one of the best descriptions I've heard of the difference is, it comes from, in fact, one of the world's foremost gurus on valuation, which is Dr. Ashwath Damodaran. And I believe it was the 2017 CMT Association event in New York when he said that technical analysis helps you to navigate the gap between intrinsic value, fundamental analysis, and market price.
Okay.
So the way I see it, these are both incredibly important disciplines. And therefore, since you asked me the difference, I'll also tell you the one thing that bothers me so much. When people say that I'm either a fundamental analyst or a technical analyst, I'm concerned that they don't understand either.
Oh, okay.
Because I feel that it's like having a pair of eyes. My medical analogy is this, that you have a pair of eyes, and according to science, if you lose vision in any one of your eyes, you still retain 85% of your total vision. But you lose 100% of your depth perception. And that is what understanding both these disciplines mean. In fact, Rob Langrick, who is the global head of the CMT, the CFA program, is a dear friend of mine, and we work together at Bloomberg as well. And as luck would have it, we were chatting just yesterday about why it is important for more folks who are CFA charter holders to learn technical analysis into the CMT program, and vice versa as well.
Right.
Because this depth of understanding the markets, when you understand both what the value of an asset should be and what is it right now and how is it behaving right now, whether it is the short term, medium, or long term, both are important in order to make wise decisions. And I say decisions, not necessarily just buy or sell investment decisions, but strategic decisions as well. It's not just about investment management. Think of it this way. You like coffee. The person who buys and sells coffee beans for Starbucks in Bangalore in India is also a CMT charter holder. He works for Tata Coffee in the treasury desk.
Okay.
And so the idea is that market price is an important input to every decision that you make. In fact, that's what I'm doing my doctoral work on as well. And understanding both the intrinsic value of the coffee bean and what the price is doing right now are both equally important.
So you're saying to become a good trader, you should know both fundamental and the technical analysis.
Absolutely.
But this is a very interesting point, because like you mentioned, a lot of people who do CFA or they do any of the other certification, they ideally want to get themselves associated with either a fundamental analysis, and you'll see a lot of people talking about fundamental analysis.
Right.
Now, technical analysis, the wave in India is slightly different. We'll come to that.
Of course, yeah.
But now from the certification perspective, if somebody wants to do the CMT, okay, what is your association actually doing around it, in the sense how they're helping in terms of creating awareness,
right,
jobs? What is the view?
So there are two parts to this, right? One part is the CMT program itself, and what the program at its core does is it establishes what is today the cutting edge of technical analysis.
Okay.
What is the minimum knowledge that one should have in order to responsibly use technical analysis as a professional? So in order to build the CMT program, also what we do as an organization, and this is a lot of volunteer-led work, but our members poll more than 3,000 professionals from around the world who practice technical analysis across a wide variety. And we'll talk about what kind of job roles, but a wide variety of job roles. And then using that, they triangulate what is the cutting edge of technical analysis today. Okay. What should people know? Right. And that builds the CMT program, levels 1, 2, and 3. And now we have a digital curriculum that is directly accessible to everyone who's a candidate of the program as soon as they register for the program. So the curriculum is also much more dynamic, and we are able to give people a sense of what is latest even now. And in fact, all our members at CMT Association get access for free to that curriculum for their entire life. So that's something that is that's a very powerful value add. So that is the CMT program, right? Defending the what you might call the baseline of what is good technical analysis. Okay. The other part to it is the community, because like I told you in my story earlier, CMT Association started off as a group of like-minded people, right, who wanted to drive the discipline forward. Correct. And in doing so, share with each other and grow together as well. So what we do in terms of the community is around the world, wherever we have member presence, and we have presence in now 120 countries around the world, we create opportunities for members to meet up in person wherever possible and virtually wherever it's not. Okay. And we also create networking opportunities through that. Okay. So on one hand, there are practitioners from the industry, CMT charter holders, industry veterans who come and share how they use technical analysis, and then that opens up room for discussion and people ask questions, and that's how you learn, and that's how the whole journey of mentorship takes you forward. Right. But also at the same time, that creates job opportunities as well. Senior veteran technicians who run desks or even run firms are always looking for people whom they want to work with. Okay. And so creating those opportunities. And plus, we've also on our Discord server, so we have an official Discord server as well. On the server, we've also created a job board where any company around the world that is looking to hire folks from CMT Association come and share with us. So whenever they share the job roles, etc., whether it's a small company, a 1 or 2 person research desk, or these are large firms as well that always have a standing open role, we post them on our Discord server, and that's available for all our members to come and access. Okay. Apart from that, the other thing that I really am passionate about is to also help more folks from the industry and people aspiring to be in the industry understand that technical analysis is not limited to just the investment management world. Okay. The application of technical analysis as a skill is across the financial services industry. So we can talk about that also as we go.
Correct. Now, one of the questions that any candidates who want to do any certification, right, they have is that whether I am the right fit. So what is your take on that? Who should actually do CMT?
That's actually a very good question, because that question also I'll break into 2 parts. Okay. One part is who should do CMT. The other part is who should learn technical analysis. Okay. Right? Okay. Let's take who should do CMT. So CMT is like CFA or FRM. Or Kaya. These are professional qualifications, right? So they're by definition designed for professionals to establish their credibility. Correct. How would you define a professional? I would define it as anyone who uses their skill as a service to someone else and gets compensated for that. So that's a professional, right? So that is what the CMT or the CFA or any of these credentials do, is they establish to the world that if you bear these letters after your name, you have at least that bare minimum, a high standard of excellence in that discipline. Okay. Right. Then I would look at a firm, any firm within the financial services industry, and I would split it into 3 parts: the back office, mid office, and front office. The back office is the part of the company that does the operational parts of the work. Accounting or operations technology. The skeleton of the company that helps the company actually stand up and survive. Correct. Right. That is the back office. Now, for the back office, if you're looking for roles in the accounting space, etc., qualifications such as ACCA, CMA, CA in India, obviously, right, all these matter. The mid office does something slightly different. The mid office is, I call it the conscience of the company. So in the mid office, you would look at what are the rules that the company should abide by, whether it is set from the outside by the government or the regulators, or whether it's set internally. Now, if I have chosen to be a long-only mutual fund that focuses on, let's say, mid-cap stocks, that's a rule I've set for myself. That is what I sell to the world. Then if I suddenly start buying small caps or large caps or dabble in derivatives, I'm breaking my own rules. The mid-office makes sure that I don't break my own rules. Okay. So in that sense, they are the conscience of the company. So here you are looking for mid-office qualifications in the world of risk, such as what GARP offers or Premia offers. The front office, you might call it the brain or the face of the organization. That's usually where the leadership lies, right? And so in the front office, you are looking at understanding the markets and engaging with that, making decisions based on what is going on in the world outside, right? Now, this could be investment decisions like, do I want to invest my capital in XYZ stock or bond or anything? or it could be strategic decisions. Let's say the chairman and managing director of Hindalco wants to purchase a mine in Australia.
Okay.
For all of these, they need to understand what is happening out there in the world to make those decisions,
Correct.
right? Those are front office decisions. The other side of the front office is the customer. Now, if let's say I, as an investment manager, wanted to buy stocks, I don't go and buy it directly. I go through a broker. That broker serves me, and in order to have a meaningful dialogue with me, that broker should also understand what is going on in the markets.
Correct.
Right. So the front office does both of these things. It engages with the markets and it engages with customers.
Correct.
So anybody who's doing that should understand both fundamental and technical analysis. So it's a very long way of saying that technical analysis and fundamental analysis most tightly fit, so therefore CFA, CMT, and I would say both fit most tightly in the world of the front office, facing customers, facing markets. But I have spoken with several industry professionals who also find technical analysis valuable in the mid office, because you have to do risk management, risk forecasting as well. So you are paying attention to price to understand whether your pricing models are actually within the risk parameters of the company. Okay. Or financial planning in the accounts department also needs to potentially understand, let's say, a company that focuses on purchasing commodities such as coal to run a power plant. They have to understand what is the price of coal likely to do. Okay. What is the price of FX? Let's say I want to buy coal from Australia. What is the FX likely to do? Okay. So they also need technical analysis in some sense. So in that sense, technical analysis has a role in every section of the company, every layer of the company, but obviously much more in the front office.
Okay. Now, when you go to the market, this is what I've heard.
Yeah.
If you do CMT or technical related course, the two primary job roles would be either you can become a trader, a technical trader,
right,
or you will be in research.
Right.
What other roles would ideally open up if you do say CMT?
Gotcha. Very good question again. Because what you said and that perspective, it's very common, but it's also like that poem of the 6 blind men and the elephant. Because 6 different blind people
are describing elephant.
Exactly. They approach it from different angles, and what they understand is the poem ends with a very nice line. They say that it says that though each of them was in the right, they all were in the wrong. So the point is, when you think of technical analysis in the markets, the natural thought is, okay, I can be a trader, I can be an analyst, but also what is my role in this entire industry ecosystem? Right. So if you think of the financial services industry as well, it is not limited only to investment management. Okay. In fact, what do you invest in, right? The simplest understanding of investing is I buy shares.
Correct.
What are those shares? They are shares of companies. What are those companies? Companies take some raw material, process it somehow, sell it as a value-added output. If this company is buying in raw materials, they are spending money. They have to understand that money. They have to understand the prices of what they are buying.
Correct.
If they are selling it outside, if they are selling it locally, they have to understand market dynamics. If they're selling it overseas, over and above their own market dynamics, they have to understand FX as well.
Correct.
So companies also have to pay attention to the markets. Technical analysis fits in there. Companies are catered to by banks. If I have a ship that is sailing on the sea bringing coal from Australia to India, and I want to purchase an option hedge against that, I go to my bank. So the bank needs to understand the risk in order to sell me whatever security I'm looking for. The bank does not hold risk on its own. It takes that risk and packages it and sells it off to, let's say, investment managers. The Big Short is my favorite movie to recommend to anybody who wants to learn about this in detail. But so the investment manager is also involved. Then there are your mutual fund distribution agencies. You have news agencies that are paying attention to the markets and trying to educate the people. There are education providers, whether it's credentialing bodies, private education companies, universities. All of these folks also have to understand what's going on in the markets. Okay, so to that sense, it's a much wider circle than what people tend to think of. Okay. So I'll just close this off with that other piece of your initial question. Where does CMT, the qualification, fit in? Across the entire CMT, across the entire financial services journey, right. If you are in a role that faces the markets and makes decisions, or faces customers to explain decisions to them, technical analysis helps. So you should ideally do your CMT. But who should learn technical analysis? Everybody. This is a very nice conversation. Ask the question and I'll tell you why.
No, this is very good. So the way you bifurcated is that
Yeah.
professionally you need for certain things, but as an individual who might be interacting with market,
Yeah.
you need to learn technical analysis.
Absolutely. I'll tell you why. In fact, this is not an original idea. This idea came to me from the director of a business school that I met with, and I was talking to her about the CMT program, career opportunities, why their students should be going through the program and all that. And then she comes from an HR background herself. So she was very, very keen and inquisitive about what is technical analysis. So then I started talking about technical analysis itself, the understanding of price, volume, market data in order to manage market risk and to make prudent decisions. So she's like, then Joel, all my students should learn this, right? So why? Because all of them are going to earn salaries. And banks are not going to give you enough to even keep up with inflation. That means everybody has to manage their money.
Correct.
And nowadays, access to markets and speculation tools is so easy that everybody is putting themselves out there for 500 rupees in India. You can access, these piecemeal courses. Let me not get started on what is wrong with the world of courses. We'll come to that. But even access to markets, right? You could for some time access crypto markets, and you can access the options markets. SEBI put out a paper recently that 95% people who dabble in options lose money. That is because markets are so accessible, but the knowledge to protect yourself against that access is very little. And that is also a problem with technical analysis.
But that is where CMT can come. In the sense
but here's the thing, right? The CMT is relevant if you are going to be a professional. Right, it's a serious investment as well. So, and that's a huge universe of people who should be doing the CMT program as it is. But not everybody needs the CMT program in the way that everybody needs to learn enough technical analysis to protect themselves. The problem with that is that people think that just by being able to, let's say, identify a trend, they've learned technical analysis. The problem is that there is a huge education ecosystem and a finfluencer ecosystem that tries to make it sound that easy.
Right.
The data to do technical analysis is available because exchanges provide practically for free.
Right.
Companies like TradingView provide tools that are practically for free. At least the free tier is pretty robust. Problem is this access gets confused for skill. And that is a big problem that I have with the current ecosystem as it is right now. And that is one of the missions of CMT Association, is to also spread awareness against this lack of rigor in understanding technical analysis.
When you're saying spread awareness, so practically, you might not go and give the exam of CMT, but you would know how to do technical analysis.
Yes. To learn what is robust technical analysis and what is the point of it. Is it just to identify entry, exit, stop loss, or is it to understand your entire investment portfolio? And most importantly, how do you protect yourself against risk? To be introduced to the basic ideas of behavioral psychology that says, no matter how smart you think you are, you have some emotional behavioral biases that put you at risk. How do you protect yourself against that? And that is what we want for more people to understand. My dream, I keep saying, is that if my dad, when he's approached by some broker or salesperson of investment products, knows enough to ask, are you a CMT? Then I've done my job. Because the professional who is managing my father's market risk needs to understand the risk that he's putting my father in or protecting him against, and more importantly, that they understand the ethical framework of what it takes to be a market professional. So which is why CMT Association, CFA Institute, we both believe very strongly in the ethics and standards of being a market professional.
Correct.
And that's where being a CMT becomes important.
So anybody who wants to become a trader now, a college student right now, he is thinking of becoming a trader. CFA plus CMT can give him a good picture.
If they are becoming a financial markets professional, yes.
Yeah, a trader, proper trader in a company, for example.
Oh, if they want to work in a company, then yes, having a CFA and CMT would help them.
Okay.
The only place where I would, and not because I work for CMT Association, but where I would give technical analysis the edge, is that there is in fact ease of access. So if you can put in the discipline, you can understand enough about market risk to protect yourself first and foremost. So if a young person wants to start out in their career, while we also have a lot of veteran market professionals who are CFA charter holders. Incidentally, we give CFA charter holders, active CFA charter holders, a waiver for level 1, so that they can start the program directly from level 2. But far more important, I think, is if you are starting out right now today, I would first want you to protect yourself. I mean, if I was teaching a child to cycle, I would first put pads and gloves and a helmet on, and then send them out on the road, because the roads are more dangerous today.
The connecting aspect with respect to the career, suppose somebody has completed CMT,
Right?
he goes and he starts working with, say, Bloomberg or any of the company. What are the additional skill set he should know to survive and excel in finance?
Oh, that's a very big one. These are career skills that I feel are relevant to everyone. You mentioned earlier when we were talking as well about soft skills. What are these other nuances? I would say being able to tell a story is valuable.
Okay.
Being able to explain to your constituents what exactly your process is important. Okay. Staying up to date with the current most recent developments in the world of technology. Okay. I mean, nowadays AI is changing every week. I think there's something new that's happening. Staying up to date with that is incredibly important. Reading, absorbing information. I mean, I come from an era when reading was the only thing, but there's content everywhere. Absorbing good quality content constantly is very important. Staying on top of what is going on in the world, because it's so easy to get irrelevant, right? The more you can do to know what the changes are, what are the big signals that you are seeing on the horizon, the better you can prepare yourself.
Okay, so one question which is slightly controversial. I was talking to somebody and he mentioned that he basically asked me this question: will AI make the job of technical analyst or a trader redundant? I mean, you can have everything plugins in your terminal.
True.
They'll give you the analysis.
That's true of all kinds of analysis, and that is true, in fact, of all kinds of intellectual labor, right? That AI creates an existential risk to those who are not able to adapt. The risk is not for a person who uses AI to do their job, but for the person who does not use AI to do their job. Okay. But there's another take that I want to give to that, is you use AI how, right? How would you, let's say you have 20 different data feeds that go into your AI model, and based on those 20 different data fields, you want your model to create some kind of decisions. Okay. Who decides what decisions they should be?
That will ultimately be human, basically.
At least at this point, there is still room for humans to write that. But who builds the models? Who makes sure that these models are explainable from the context of market data? So technical analysis and market data as a skill will continue to remain relevant for a while. First principles is how I would look at it. Having been an engineer myself, I talk to a lot of young engineering graduates who say, I've learned R and Python and C and whatnot, correct. Therefore can I be a quantitative engineer, or can I start building my own algos? I was like, fine, your coding language is good, but without any data to flow into your code, what do you do?
But just one more clarification. So, you're saying human aspect will still be there, primarily because when you go and do the trading, it is more random in nature. Even though you have everything available, it is more based on what you have experienced, what is a gut feeling.
It's gut feeling is a very dangerous thing to say, because sometimes that becomes a license to not have the rigor. Because a gut feel, to my mind, is not something that you develop out of the blue. It comes from years of rewiring your neural networks to understand that there are some reactions that happen to some stimuli, right? And so your rigor in how you've learned your first principles, fundamental analysis, technical analysis, the marrying the two together, how mathematics, statistics, and probability overlays all of this. Okay. Understanding that is always going to be important. Those are the first principles. But once you understood them well enough, then you develop a heuristic in your mind that, okay, if this is what I'm seeing in the environment, here are the probable reactions.
Correct.
But we are all humans in the end. We are all, like Dan Ariely says, predictably irrational. So guarding against our heuristics is also important. Okay. And so having systems to help you make decisions will always remain valuable. AI systems will become a more advanced version of such tools.
Correct.
But I don't know that AI is ready to replace us yet. I mean,
Okay.
it is definitely ready to replace the person who refuses to understand and use AI. That's for sure.
Okay. Wonderful. I'll have a quick last rapid
Please.
fire round. So you have to answer fast. Okay.
Oh my God.
One habit every aspiring strategist should develop.
Read.
Read. Okay. Hard skill or soft skill? What stands out in interview?
Your soft skill demonstrates your hard skills. That is important.
Okay. First step for a student wanting to enter AI strategy.
Understand what's going on right now in the landscape. Current affairs.
Okay. Analytical skill or creative thinking? What is more important as per you?
There is no or.
Achha, it's a combination. Okay. Books or online courses? Which way is the best to learn technical analysis?
In this case, it's an and.
Okay.
Books are always fun, but online courses give you a lot of flexibility as well. So yeah.
Okay, wonderful. I mean, this conversation will help a lot of students और हमारे जो बहुत सारे ऑडियंस है जो कॉलेज में है और उनको पता भी नहीं टेक्निकल एनालिसिस क्या है तो उनको वैसे पता होगा थ्रू यूट्यूब बट थ्रू एज अ सर्टिफिकेशन एज अ प्रोफेशनल वर्क तो उनके लिए बहुत ज़्यादा हेल्प करेगा दिस इंटरव्यू सो अगेन थैंक यू
सो मच गणेश यही पूरा कॉन्वर्सेशन अब हिंदी में रिपीट कर सकते हैं और उसके बाद गुजराती में फिर मलयालम थैंक यू सो मच
थैंक यू